All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our final council meeting of the 2025-2026 academic year. Today is shadow day for the new council members, and we will get to meet everyone in just a second. But with that said, I will now begin today's meeting at 7:08 p.m. for Tuesday, May 19th meeting. Are there any amendments for tonight's agenda? Hannah?
Can we strike SWC programming funds? Thanks.
Yes. Vine?
Can we strike ARC allocations, please?
Thank you. Good to know. Yeah, Jaya?
I motion to add a letter in solidarity with Islamic Center at San Diego and Muslim community abroad.
Second.
Jaya motions. Wait, no, I don't. Yeah. Yeah, Jaya motions. Yeah, Daniel seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 12 to 0, that is added on to tonight's agenda. Are there any other amendments? Yes, Chris?
Please scratch ASRF and travel grant mini fund.
Thank you. Any other amendments? Yes, Hiram?
Can we add USAC transfer awareness training to the agenda?
Yes. And then can I also, I'll motion in just a sec. Can I also add discussion on USAC elections results in the special presentations, please? It's a presentation. Bethany? Wait. We'll move to Edison first.
Yes, hello. Can we strike CS Transpo from the agenda? And I'm also having some problems assessing the funding sheet to update for SFS. So if anyone could help me with that, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a discretionary proposal today?
Yes, me.
Okay. Tommy?
All right, I have a couple of things. All right, I would like to motion to add a letter calling for the University of California, Los Angeles to provide institutionalized funding for the Latinx Success Center to the agenda.
Second.
Tommy motions, Daniel seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 13 to 0, that is added onto tonight's agenda.
Next, I would like to add a letter calling for the restoration and expansion of meal swipe exchange hours at ASUCLA operated dining locations and for the reinstatement of meal swipe exchange at non-ASUCLA operated sites by fall 2026 to the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Wait, sorry, who was that? Tommy motions, Chris seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 13 to 0, that is added onto tonight's agenda. And then again, Tommy.
Motion to add a resolution calling for the preservation of federal scientific research grants and innovation at UCLA and the University of California system to the agenda.
I second.
Tommy motions, Daniel seconds. All in favor. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 13 to 0, that resolution is also added onto tonight's agenda.
All right, and last thing, I have 2 election code changes on 5/19/26 to be added to the agenda.
There's a second.
Second.
Tommy motions, Jaya seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against? All abstaining? With a vote of 12 to 0, those code changes proposals are added onto tonight's agenda. Just a discussion. And then I think Bethany still has to be promoted. Okay, yeah, Bethany just added. Can I also motion for an executive session? It's, yeah. It's the execs know about it. Sorry, my bad. Executive session on bylaws for new council members. Yeah, can I get a motion, please? Or yeah, I'll motion and then can I get a second?
Second?
All right, I motion, Hiram second. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against? All abstaining? With a vote of 12 to 0, we will go into executive session at the end of the meeting. Microphone. All right, any final call for amendments? Nico?
Shouldn't all of the stuff added to the agenda be under new business?
All right, final call. All right, can we please get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda for May 19th, 2026.
Second.
Daniel motions, Sherry seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against? All abstaining? With a vote of 13 to 0, tonight's agenda for May 19th is approved. We will now move on to the approval of our meeting minutes from our previous week. If there are no concerns, we will just approve those for tonight. We will now move on to public comments. Is there anybody here in person for public comments? If so, please raise your hands. All right. We can begin with the first row, and Tommy will set up the 2-minute timer. And whenever you see the timer, you may begin public comments. Just wait for the timer, sorry. Right, you may begin whenever you're ready.
Members of the USAC Council, today members of my community across Southern California and the country are in pain. 3 people were killed at the Islamic Center in San Diego yesterday in one of the most vicious Islamophobic hate crimes seen in recent years. These 3 men were members of their community who wore their hearts on their sleeves and are remembered as being kind and dedicated to their faith. Why were they killed? For being Muslim. They paid the price for another person's bigotry and hatred and sacrificed their lives. Mansoor Kazia, who had taken care of the mosque since the 1980s and was a pillar of the Muslim community in San Diego. Nader Awad, a member of the mosque who rushed across the street from his home into the center when he heard the gunshots. And Aman Abdullah, a father of 8 who had worked as a security guard at the mosque for more than a decade and rushed to engage the shooters. In a moment of incredible courage and sacrifice, he prevented them from entering the Islamic school just feet away, in which 140 children were under lockdown. This kind of violence is horrifying and infuriating to me as a Muslim, but it's not surprising. Islamophobia has been on the rise in the US over the past several years, and we have everyone from media figures to politicians on both sides of the aisle condoning this and spewing the same hatred. In this country, Arab, South Asian, and Muslim voices are being silenced when we attempt to stand up for ourselves and what we believe in. Regular citizens are being suppressed over peacefully protesting against what humanitarian organizations have, time and time again, deemed a genocide. The very institution we are in right now sits by as students protesting for Palestine are brutalized and penalized for peacefully expressing their beliefs. It sits by as Islamophobia and hatred rises, and many Muslim students are left feeling unsafe and left behind by the university. As a world-class institution, UCLA has an obligation, no, a moral duty to stand by Muslim and minority Bruin communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Should I go whenever? Okay, beautiful. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Reva. I'm a member of Students for Justice in Palestine here at UCLA, as well as a part of the UC Divest Coalition. And I stand in solidarity with the Ummah, with the Muslim community that is grieving so heavy right now after the immense violence that we witnessed in San Diego. I don't think that the gun was just loaded by the 2 Islamophobes that waged that devastating violence in San Diego that we just saw earlier this week. That gun was loaded by institutions like UCLA, led by the US government and governments across the world. That gun was loaded through Department of Homeland Security policies of war on terror, where they started, bugging the MSA rooms and policing and infiltrating Muslim communities here. That gun was loaded when UCLA paid out Zionists citing Islamic terror from students protesting, the bombs dropping on their own families. The gun was loaded when UCPD and UCLA administration harassed, targeted, arrested, persecuted, followed Muslim students fighting for the Palestinian cause on campus. The gun was loaded when the UC and UCLA invested in Blackstone and BlackRock, the same bulldozers from Caterpillar that are tearing down mosques in Palestine, the same missiles from Lockheed Martin, from Boeing, from Raytheon that were raining down on Muslims in Palestine, praying Jummah prayer. And mind you, they broke their so-called ceasefire thousands of times, the most times that they'd broken it during Ramadan. I urge you not to just pass this resolution, but commit yourselves to action in the name of Muslim students on this campus, the South Asian students on this campus, the Arab students on this campus, the Palestinians and West Asians on this campus who bogged down with Islamophobia, bogged down with Zionism, bogged down with racism and white supremacy, have to face their families and people back home being massacred and displaced every single day. I urge you to commit yourselves to protecting Muslim students, not by asking for cops to step in, the same body that is responsible for a decades-long war against Muslims in the United States, but by refusing silence against Islamophobia, against Zionism. It's not enough for us to react and grieve. We have to fight and organize together. I urge you to stand in solidarity with Students for Justice in Palestine and all of our demands to disclose, divest, boycott, and abolish. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Avery, and I'm here to condemn the horrible shooting that happened at the Islamic Center in San Diego yesterday. I'm here to honor the names of those that were shot and killed. Amin Abdallah, Nadir Awad, and Mansour Kasiha. These were not just people. These were entire universes. These were people that contributed to their communities and were loved by their community members. And they did not deserve to be killed in such a horrific and hatred-filled way. It is important that UCLA stands up for our Muslim students. Time and time again, administration has failed them at the encampment, at protests. Every single time that Islamophobic hate has occurred on this campus, it has not been responded to with the gravity that it needs to be. So I urge UCLA administration and the rest of this council, especially next year's council, to be receptive to these demands and ensure that we're not just fighting for divestment, that we're fighting for these communities to be able to live and thrive here at UCLA without the fear of discrimination, without the fear of prejudice, and being able to truly live as members of this community. Furthermore, I also am here to support the letter demanding that UCLA provide institutional funding for the Latinx Success Center. The LSC is a lifeline for Latino students across this campus, not just for academic and job resources, but also for them to be able to find a community and thrive here. It's important that UCLA doesn't just fund these resources, but also ensures that they have funding to continue on into the next years to ensure that as new Latino students get admitted and accepted, they're not just able to be accepted here, but they're able to learn, they're able to find community, and they're able to truly make a legacy out of themselves at this university. Every student deserves that kind of institutional support. And so I urge you all to pass this letter, to pass both of the letters, and to support students, institutionalized funding, and retention in every way that you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. I believe there was in the back row, or I don't know. Yep. Whoever would like to speak.
Sorry. Timer ready? Good evening. I'm here to voice my support for the letter that will be placed on today's agenda in solidarity with the Islamic Center at San Diego and the Muslim community abroad. Though I myself am neither Muslim nor from the San Diego area, I want to recognize and make it clear that what happened yesterday is not an isolated incident of violent hatred. It's the product and intent of the American imperial machine that feeds off all forms of racism, but particularly that which is Islamophobia. For as long as I've been alive, Islamophobic rhetoric has been ingrained in us to shape the image of how we view our Muslim friends and community members for the worse. We need not look further for this proof other than our very own campus, where for the past couple of years, unabashed and heightened levels of Islamophobia have not only been tolerated by campus administration, but arguably have been encouraged over the past 3 years, especially coinciding since the beginning of the ongoing genocidal campaign against Palestinians by Israel. This letter is not just a statement of solidarity, it's a sign of exasperation from the student community that cares deeply over how institutions like San Diego's mayor office, led by Todd Gloria, and like how the UCLA administration, who have both emboldened targeted hatred and violence against Muslims from San Diego to Washington, repeatedly ignore the concerns around surveillance of our communities and of vitriol of minority communities until it is too late. And even then, these concerns may remain largely unaddressed for what they are if their loved ones are even offered that grace. I hope that this new council stays firm in its beliefs of uplifting minority students and calling out our administrators for contributing to the very targeted hatred against Muslim students that leads to acts of terror like the one that happened yesterday at the Islamic Center at San Diego, and other numerous hate crimes that have occurred on this very campus for years now. I want to leave you all by urging you to say the names of the victims of this attack tonight and again. Do not let them be an afterthought. Amin Abdullah, Nadir Arwad, and Mansour Kaziha. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Timer, please. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Oh yeah, first of all, my name's Joey. I'm a UCLA alum. I wanted to say I support the resolution.
Wait, sorry. Are you currently enrolled undergraduate or you're an alum?
I'm an alum.
Sorry, unfortunately, public comment is only open to enrolled students of UCLA, of undergraduate students.
Well, briefly.
Sorry, no, sorry.
I urge you to follow the community. directly affected by.
Next speaker.
All right, good evening, everybody. Yesterday, the nation was devastated by a hate crime shooting at San Diego's largest mosque. This attack served as a larger, intractable problem in the United States, which is Islamophobia. According to the New York Times, the Council on American Islamic Relations received 8,683 civil rights complaints in 2025, the most the group recorded since 1996, and stated government actions and official rhetoric treated Muslims and people who speak up for Palestinian human rights as suspicious and outside the circle of protected religious and civic life. Here at our beautiful campus, we must take proactive action to protect our Muslim brothers and sisters and the UCLA community at large from all levels of hate. I urge you to pass the item on the agenda. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker. Is there anybody here for in-person public comment? If so, can you please raise your hand? I'll be moving to online public comment. There's no one. All right, final call. All right, with that, I close public comment at 7:29 p.m. We will now move on to contingency programming with Bethany.
Hi, this week we had a total contingency program request of $61,076, and we recommend an allocation of $22,769.16 for no USAC entities and 49 non-USAC entities. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I also wanted to note that the capital contingency application form just opened, and I sent it to the webmaster to have it on the funding website updated as well.
Thank you. Can we please get a motion to
Scroll
approve?
down on the comment so we can see the amount.
Oh yeah, tell me.
Okay, motion to approve an allocation of $22,769.16 to no USAC entities and 49 non-USAC entities.
I second.
Shins, Tommy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining with a vote of 14-0 that contingency programming allocations are approved. Give me a sec. Sorry, I'm just gonna. I think you have to do it on your end, Tommy, but can you promote Pamela? We will now move on to SFS allocations.
Yes, hello. This week SFS recommends an allocation of $6,189.22 to 3 USAC entities and 5 non-USAC entities.
Thank you. Are there any questions? If not, those are approved for tonight, and we will move on to Bruin Advocacy Grant.
Hi, this week BAG recommends an allocation of $15,581.10 to 0 USAC entities and 18 non-USAC entities.
Are there any questions or comments regarding BAG allocation? If not, those are approved. We will now move on to TGIF.
TGIF recommends an allocation of $18,887.56 to 2 non-USAC entities and 1 USAC entity.
Thank you. We will now move on to CS Transpo Fund.
Yes, hello. Sorry, for CS Transpo, I thought I asked for it to be struck from the agenda, so there's no allocations for CS Transpo.
For Mini?
Yeah, okay. For CS Mini, this week CS Mini recommends an allocation of $2,985.06 to 6 non-USAC entities and 0 USAC entities.
It's a consent item, right, Tommy? Because I see it's an action over.
Okay, do I need a motion?
Yeah, can you motion? That would be easier for us.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, I motion to approve the CS mini allocation of $2,985.06 to 6 non-USAC entities and 0 USAC entities.
I second.
Who's that, Nico? No. Oh, Daniel. My bad. Edison motions. Daniel seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 14 to 0, those allocations are approved. And now we will move on to discretionary requests from Tommy.
All right, I have two for y'all. The first one I'd like to motion for is for $1,216.60 for the annual off-campus housing fair. So that one is just for the reservation of the ballroom for that event. Anyone have any questions?
Can we get a motion?
All right, I motion to approve the discretionary allocation $1,216.60 to the IVP office for the off-campus housing fair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Tommy motions. Brett seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 13 to 0, the discretionary request is approved. And now we have a second one.
Right, and then last one, similar nature, but this one is for the USAC Gala, same thing. Room reservation of $1,500 to the IVP office for the room. All right, any questions?
No. Can we get a motion, please?
All right, motion to approve a discretionary allocation of $1,500 to the IVP office for the USAC Gala.
Is there a second?
I second.
Tommy motions, JS seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 14 to 0, that discretionary request is approved. We will now move on to our presentation with Hiram and the new incoming TSR.
All right, can we get the presentation up? That's like, sorry. I'll wait. Wait, stand on this side. I can't hear you.
Is it possible to keep it from like 15 to 20 minutes? I know y'all got it, but okay. Thank you. It's doable. Thank you.
All right. Half of you have seen this before. The other half, welcome to USAC, have not. So this is our transfer awareness presentation from me and Ashley. Next slide, please. To briefly introduce ourselves, in case you just don't know who we are, my name is Hiram Yoon. My pronouns are she, they. I was this year's transfer student representative.
My name is Ashley Ma, pronouns also she, they, and I am next year's transfer student representative.
Oh yeah. Okay, next slide, please.
Okay, yeah, so the goals of this presentation are to make you more aware of the issues that are facing transfer students, the systemic barriers, and what you can do about it to support transfer students and make sure that you are a thoughtful and inclusive leader as members of USAC.
Next slide, please.
Okay, some statistics here. Currently this year, we have just over 8,300 transfer students, which makes up 25%, just under 25% of the undergraduate population. 92% of those students or transfer students come from California community colleges. And of the entering class from this past year, 13% were international students, 33% were from underrepresented backgrounds, and 39% are first-generation college students. Next slide. So, who are UCLA transfer students? Oh my goodness. There are so many different identities that intersect with the transfer community. Community college students, as we mentioned, first gen, non-trad, parenting, international students, financially independent, traditionally aged transfer students, veterans, commuters, athletes, undocumented, four-year to four-year transfer students such as myself, system impacted, formerly incarcerated, foster youth, students in recovery, out-of-state students, and adult learners.
So many.
Yes, all shapes and sizes.
Next slide, please. We are really speed running this. All right, so the last time I gave this presentation, I was the point of contact for TSR. I don't know if you guys are up to date. Ashley's the next point of contact for TSR. All right, so the transfer triad, the transfer triad exists where the three pillars of like transfer student leadership at UCLA, you could say. There's the USAC transfer student representative. God, I hope you guys know what they do. There's the transfer leadership coalition, which was led by Zara this year. We don't know who's gonna run it next year. They haven't had their election yet. It's a surprise. She will update you, not my job anymore. And then we have the Transfer Student Center led by Sarah Moe. Next slide, please. All right, so to give you some background on UCLA transfer history and just different roles that departments have played. Since 2001, we've seen the Transfer Student Program established in 2009 under the Bruin Resource Center. The Transfer Leadership Coalition was actually established in 2014 to advocate for our positions. And the Office of the Transfer Student Representative was established in 2014. And then the Transfer Student Center became a thing in 2017, became a center, moved to Kirkhoff, where we all know where it is. And in 2019, the Transfer Leadership Coalition advocated for the Transfer Student Affairs Officer position within the UC Students Association, which is really cool. And then there are also, sorry, not yet. And there's also the Center for Community College Partnerships, which is a center for outreaching to underrepresented and low-income community college students to empower students and provide guidance on transferring to a four-year university. We recently welcomed them at Transfer Bruin Day this year. And the Transfer Student Center exists for supporting and connecting students to opportunities and resources through intentional programming. Actually, all you new officers, I highly implore you to connect with Sarah Moe and Mauricio from the Transfer Student Center. Like even if it's just introducing yourself, like it's such big help. They've expressed to me that they've really appreciated the officers this year that approached them. So just giving you a piece of advice to reach out to the Transfer Student Center. Next slide. All right, and while I can't speak to, I can't speak to this. I can highlight some of the resources that are offered UC-wide. Out of the 9 undergraduate UCs, only 6 offer like actual established transfer resources on campus. 6 of the UCs have transfer centers, so UCSB, Berkeley, LA, SD, Davis, and UCI. UC Riverside has the Bournes College of Engineering, and that's their transfer student center. And then UCSD established their Triton Transfer Hub in 2020, and UC Santa Cruz has a transfer prep program, kind of similar to Triple CP, if this helps you guys situate where UCLA is among the UC-wide transfer resources. Next slide.
Yeah, so to go into some of the challenges that transfer students face, going to college is difficult enough for four-year students. We have only 2 years to, adjust, figure things out, and that limited time really affects students. Many barriers actually. So this slide is about academic challenges. There are restrictions on changing your major or adding a double major, as Harem has done. If you look at the statistics on graduation, transfers, the 2-year transfer graduation rate is 77.3% versus for 4 years, for 4-year students, it's 87.5%. And yeah, this affects transfer students in a lot of ways. Adjusting to the quarter system can be really difficult with workload and the time management. And also having access to campus resources. There are many resources available to students, they're just not aware of it. If you look at the undergraduate experience survey from 2024, transfer students reported lower levels they reported lower familiarity with basic needs support and lower comfortability seeking out support for their basic needs. Next slide. Okay, yeah, so transfer shock, kind of related to that, is a phenomenon in the transition onto campus where transfers experience temporary dip in GPA from transferring, and it's just an overwhelming experience. I mean, we've all experienced that transition, and it's even more difficult for transfers because we have such limited time. We're expected to figure things out right away. So yeah, next slide. Okay. Another one. Okay, so social challenges and obstacles, which also ties into this limited time constraint. To throw some more statistics at you, students who were involved in student orgs reported 96% belonging compared to just 77% from students who weren't involved. You might wonder, what does this have to do with transfers? Well, in that same in that same survey from 2024, only 52% of transfers reported being involved in a student org, whereas 83% of four-year students did. That's a huge gap, 30%. And so this issue of belonging at UCLA, it's really important for transfer students to get involved with clubs and organizations and leadership such as USAC, but it's more difficult for them because of some of these systemic barriers, limitations on time and that sort of thing. So and there's also cultural stigma from students that from both transfer students and four-year students that community college is taking the easy way out, we're not smart enough to be here, something like that. That really creates an environment that is not welcoming for transfer students. Next slide.
Next slide. All right, new USAC. I hope you've been paying attention because I'm about to call on you. Okay, reflect. How has my knowledge of transfer students changed? Some questions you may ask yourself include, which of the statistics or facts stood out to me most? What was I surprised about? What do I feel equipped to talk about with my friends and peers? I'll let you think about this. It says 20 seconds on here. I don't think I can wait 20 seconds. I'll wait like 10, and then I'm going to start calling on people unless we have volunteers. Okay, Jaya is a volunteer. Jaya.
I think the statistic that most stood out to me was interesting because I looked a lot about like Black student graduation like retention rates, and it was the 2-year graduation rate, which is 77.3%, which is actually around the same amount as like general Black student graduates, and I know it's even lower for Black transfers. But I also just want to show my appreciation to Hiram this year, who has taught me so much about transfer students, and we've been able to collaborate a lot for promotion with Black transfer students, and I'm eager in my new role to work with Ashley. So
All right, Abby.
Definitely piggybacking off of that, I think it's really interesting that transfers reported like not being involved in a lot of student organizations, but oftentimes that's because student organizations are known to be a little bit adversarial towards transfers just because they don't view community college experience as like equally as important or equally as relevant. And I think that I'm really excited to hopefully be part of this new culture, this new movement of including transfers even more in both USAC and both outside organizations as well. Thank you so much for your work.
Love to hear it. And also shout out IVP. Like y'all had a lot of transfers in your office.
Shout out IVP.
I'm gonna call on a few people. Paige, my former chief of staff. I think it's about time you contribute to this.
Well, even though I did do this presentation myself a couple months ago, I really think it's important that we continue to hire transfers in our upper positions, not just staff. That means directors and exec, because if you don't let them into the upper positions as your staff as first-year transfers, you're excluding them from higher up positions.
Oh yeah, she knows her stuff. All right, I'm gonna call on one more. Oh yes, go ahead, Daniela.
Hi, yeah. I think the thing I was most surprised about was finding out that the student transfer representative was only established in 2014.
I know, right?
It feels like when I thought about that, wait, that's like what, 12 years ago? No,
right?
12?
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like that means so many years transfer students weren't being represented and their needs weren't being heard. And I felt that was just so crazy to me. So I'm really glad that now we're able to have this presentation and we are taking their needs into account.
Yeah, I appreciate
Thank you
that.
so much for your presentation. It was really, really amazing. I think it really opened the eyes to a lot of
Don't worry, there's more. Next slide, please. Let's move on now. But thank you, I appreciate that. All right, so now that we've had the opportunity to discuss transfer issues, let's focus on ways to support transfers at UCLA and beyond. Yay! All right, next slide. Thank you. So things to consider, we need to understand that not all students are direct entry. I think it's especially important for Ashley's year because I believe she's the only transfer student in next year's council. So we just want to make sure that we're using transfer inclusive language. And this involves like calling incoming students first-year transfers or third-year students, not all just freshmen or first years. It's also recognizing the validity of our past experiences, skills, attributes, and knowledge, and what we bring to the table, having done 2 years less or more at community college, and being mindful that we often have many other responsibilities coming in as a junior level transfer. This includes having careers, jobs, families, or just commuting to campus on a day-to-day basis. Next slide.
Yeah, so we really want to encourage you to foster a transfer receptive culture. Ask yourself, am I including the transfer perspective when making organizational decisions? As student leaders, you guys are all role models, you guys are all getting paid. And as we said, 25% of the student body that you represent are transfers. So we really want to make sure that we're being inclusive of transfers in all of our decisions. Feel free to reach out. I would love to work with any and all of you next year on working to include transfers in both your office and your programming. Yeah, recognize us as intellectual equals. I hope this one is obvious. And assist in our advocacy for institutional change. Next slide.
And moving forward, we strongly urge, this is the announcement, this should be familiar to actually everyone in this room. We strongly urge every newly elected council member to push their exec and director application deadlines past the June 1st submission of intent to register deadline, and just give transfer students an extension to submit applications. A lot of transfers are also waitlisted, and waitlist decisions come out for us maybe July, August. So giving USAC and extracurricular activities aren't on these students' radar until after the SIR deadline or until after they commit to UCLA. So just being mindful of those experiences as well. Like some of my best directors and staff members are students that got off the wait list to UCLA. This is huge. I'd like to see this happen. We tried last year, that was my shortcoming, but adding a transfer role, like a transfer liaison, transfer director that specifically focuses on transfer inclusion to your offices, or including transfers in spaces other than just the transfer student representative position. If you're responsible for USAC appointments, I know so many of you are, just consider posting an advertisement about it on Instagram in collaboration with now Ashley's USAC account on Instagram, and utilize our monthly newsletter, which will continue under Ashley's office, to advertise any opportunities from your office that you would like to share with transfer students. We have roughly 300 students on our newsletter. We will get more after orientation, but I strongly urge you guys to just make sure that you're pushing your applications to as many transfer students as possible. Next slide. Oh wait, that's still me. Oh yeah. Sorry. Moving forward, I urge you guys to advocate alongside Ashley to shorten time-based eligibility requirements for appointed positions that disadvantage transfer students with less time at UCLA. I encourage you all to reflect on and challenge any internal biases you may hold about transfer students and their place at UCLA. Simple additions like transfers encouraged to apply. I know Jaya, Hannah, Brett, and like a couple other people, I'm like forgetting off the top of my head, did this at the start of their terms last year, and I know just how helpful that was. So just including that kind of wording in your office applications can make a huge difference in creating a more welcoming environment for transfer students to apply. Uplifting and celebrating non-traditional leadership paths. Being a four-year student isn't a requirement to lead or make an impact in student government. I hope the TSR position is proof of that. And staying informed about what the Transfer Student Center and Ashley as TSR are doing, and consider collaborating with them to help market your events to the transfer student community. If you're ever unsure about how something might land with transfers, Ashley's your girl now. Talk to her. And I think it's so important to recognize that transfer students come from such incredible, diverse walks of life. And it's important not to generalize their experiences and like fit them in one. No one's experiences fit in any cookie cutter, but just making sure that you're being considerate of every single person from every single walk of life.
Next slide. Okay, last slide. Okay,
It's like
so
the last.
yes.
Penultimate.
Oh, penultimate. Okay, so Harem in her term brought back transfer awareness trainings, which is what you guys are all experiencing right now.
Wow.
They were established in 2020 by our previous USAC TSR Zuleika. We have presented to all 15 USAC offices, elections board, ASU Slate Board of Directors, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of organizations on campus. As you saw, the training consists of UCLA, UC, and California transfer-related information, including history and statistics, the effect of California legislature on transfer students, and methods of supporting transfer students in your organization. And I will send this link out to people if you guys are interested in having a transfer awareness training presentation.
And if I'm being honest, all of you newly elected people should be filling out that form. But yeah, any questions? No questions. Wow.
We're
Mic
such good
drop.
presenters.
I know. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we will now move on to our presentation of USAC election results with our USAC e-board chair or vice chair.
Perfect. Thank you, Diego. Good evening, Council. On behalf of the Undergraduate Students Association's Elections Board, I would like to thank all candidates, ballot representatives, students, staff, and campus partners who participated and supported the 2026 USAC election cycle. This election cycle was one of the most active and demanding cycles in recent years. Over the past several weeks, the Elections Board reviewed hundreds of campaign material submissions, responded to a large volume of student inquiries, and worked through numerous formal complaints and investigations while working to ensure that the election process remained accessible, fair, and consistent for every campaign involved. Questions regarding election administration and election code compliance were reviewed through the association's established constitutional process, and we appreciate the Judicial Board's guidance and recommendation provided through that process. As institutions, we continue to learn, improve, and strengthen the systems that support student democracy at UCLA. At the same time, this election cycle also reminds us of an important reality. While more than 3,200 students cast ballots, overall voter turnout was approximately 10.1%. Increasing student engagement and participation remains an important challenge moving forward, and I hope future student leaders continue working towards making our institutions more accessible, transparent, and meaningful to the broader student community. To every candidate who ran this year, thank you. Whether you won or did not win, your willingness to step forward, advocate for your peers, and contribute to campus dialogue matters deeply. And I hope you continue to remain involved in service and advocacy within the UCLA community. And now, on behalf of the Elections Board, I'm honored to announce the certified results of the 2026 Undergraduate Students Association's election. Please join me in congratulating the newly elected student leaders. For president, we have Jaya Buse Jackson. Our next internal vice president will be Gabriel Trujillo. Our next external vice president will be Cecilia Choi. Our general representatives for next year will be Evan Salazar, Pranaya Vijay, and Susie Turner. Our financial supports commissioner for next year will be Korea Kim. Our cultural affairs commissioner for next year will be Divine Trebek. Our campus events commissioner for next year will be Selim Walsh. Our academic affairs commissioner for next year will be Angela Ledesma Grattarola. Our facilities commissioner for next year will be Paige Werner. Our community service commissioner for next year will be Maya Giwala. Our students wellness commissioner for next year will be Daniela Castro. Our transfer student representative for next year will be Ashley Ma. And last but not the least, our international student representative for next year will be Charbel Shehade. We also had 4 ballot items. The blue referendum did not pass. The student success referendum did not pass. The Bruin Bash referendum did not pass. The parliamentary adjustment to the USA Constitution passed. Congratulations to all the winners. You are stepping into leadership during a time when students are asking for thoughtful advocacy, meaningful engagement, and stronger trust in student government. And I hope each one of you leads with integrity, empathy, and a genuine commitment to serving the undergraduate student body. Thank you, Council.
And then also to echo what Tamim said, also we missed GR2, GR3 as well. GR2 was Pranaya Vijay, and then GR3 was Suzy Choi. So again, like Tamim said, thank you all for participating in the election. It was definitely a very, very busy election cycle this year with graphic approvals, investigations, judicial board, all that very, very, very fun stuff. I think the part we wanted to wrap up on was in regards to the conversations last week in terms of the elections code and the graphic approvals form and everything associated with that. As we had mentioned last week, we're waiting on a comment from the Judicial Board regarding a lot of those concerns that were brought up. I just want to reference it's Judicial Board official comment 26-3. And essentially we filed a non-adversarial petition for comment, whole mouthful. Essentially, like boiled down, it's Judicial Board's opportunity to give comment on those parts of the code that we brought to their attention. And their ruling came out yesterday morning. And essentially, overall, you can look through it, there's a couple different questions, there's 9 pages of it. But the summary of it in different parts is that one, they supported the Elections Board interpretation of the 48-hour graphics review window as set forth in the article specifically. On question 2, they ruled that the Elections Board has responded to the technological issues with the My UCLA graphics review form in a manner consistent with the election code. On question 3, that the failure to process the Director of Endorsements Director of Endorsements application materially increased the workload of the Elections Board during the spring 2026 election cycle, and that any assessment of the Elections Board performance during the cycle must take account of this fact. And then on question 4, that public statements made by members of the council at the May 5th, 2026 USAC meeting were not accompanied by evidence to substantiate the claim that the integrity of the spring 2026 USAC election had been compromised, and that statements proposing to address alleged election code violations outside of the Judicial Board mischaracterized the Judicial Board's institutional capacity and risk circumventing the appellate process established by the association's governing documents. They also attached some recommendations for the future as well for new council. I highly recommend that all new council members look through those recommendations, take that with you as you go into next year. I know this meeting is a lot of like, oh, take this with you going into next year, but a lot of these recommendations will have an impact on next year's election as well. And in order to keep next year's elections also fair and equal for all future candidates that want to run, we highly recommend looking at those recommendations and taking those into account for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. We'll move on to officer reports. I know folks we'll do our closing statement as a council at the very end, so after executive session, so we can speed run through officer reports, and mine will be written. Tommy?
All right. Hey, everybody. Happy to be closing out this year. We had the USAC Gala this past Monday, so that was really fun again. Additionally, we will be filing a Judicial Board case on Friday regarding the elections, providing the quote-unquote missing evidence that the Judicial Board is missing, so that way the report can be seen within the context, and we're in contact with all of the candidates that ran to create a holistic image of the elections for the board, and ensure that we are following all of the guidelines outlined by the association. And yeah, thank you.
My only update for today is that ACA 18 passed appropriations last week. And so it's headed to the assembly floor, and I'll continue to work with Cecilia, who's our incoming EVP, on that advocacy and hoping that it makes it all the way through. So yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you. Talia?
This Friday is the case competition in collaboration with Catalyst at UCLA. There'll be free raising canes. Submissions to compete are closed, but if you guys want to watch the competition or anything like that, you guys are more than welcome to. RSVP is in bio. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm just finishing cleaning out the office, leaving some stuff for new gen reps. So super excited for you guys. Finishing out transition process, introducing a letter in solidarity with the Islamic Center at San Diego Muslim Community Abroad that was worked on in partnership with MSA. Follow up with I had my follow up with Steve Lurie last week, and where we did actually increase representation on our new CSAB committee. So we'll be working on that, making sure those student appointments are carried out for this upcoming fall. Our ethical divestment memo was, and our Fund the UC platform was finally finished out, and our ethical divestment memo was published on our Linktree. Next, as we are approaching the summer, now we received our updated language for our Heart to Protest bill language. So now we're going to continue to start harassing offices for upcoming bill cycle. And yeah, but no other updates for me. Diego left me in charge, so next is Brett.
Same as Jaya, cleaning out the office. Yeah, left some cool things for the new gen reps, so fight over that. Um, what else? Oh, today I was in Sacramento this morning to lobby with Student Homes Coalition and California YIMBY. Took an early flight today to make it to this. And that's kind of it. Wrapping up.
Chris.
We have a closing statement, correct?
Closing statement is going to be at the way end. So we're doing officer reports, then new business, and then closing statements.
Perfect. I reserve all my commentary for closing statement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Daniel.
Hey, so I actually I have quite a bit. So actually had an event today, just ended 3 minutes ago, wasn't there. We had we had Meg Stalter, in case you don't know, she had her breakout role as Kayla Schaefer on the Emmy winning show Hacks, probably one of the funniest comedians I've ever seen. Really sad I wasn't there, but it was really successful. It sold out apparently. Yeah, and then last Friday we had Tiffany Day at our annual EDM pop show Ultra Bloom. That was also really successful. It was a lot of fun. And then yeah, and then very last thing is we have two less events this Tuesday on the 26th from 4 to 7. We have our Cycles Art exhibition. It's our second annual exhibition and art fest, vendor fest type of thing. It's going to be out on Kirkhoff Patio. You guys should come. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then next Friday, it's going to be our very last event of the year. I know, so sad. May 29th at the Nimoy at 6:30. We're going to have our annual short film festival. We're going to have surprise celebrity judges and celebrity hosts. So come out. It's going to be a lot of fun. You guys will know who they are. So like, trust, like you guys want to be there.
Edison?
Yeah, for announcements, just wanted to share that tomorrow will be CSE's annual Service Impact Summit. We will be having poster presentations and just showcasing some of the service efforts from our student body. It'll be taking place at Carnegie Commons from 3 to 8 p.m. So just pull up if you can. There will be food and yeah, it'll be pretty fun.
Divine?
All right, first thing I want to talk about is Jazz Reggae Fest. Our tickets are out, and if you log in, you can get the student discount. Today we announced our vendor village is so exciting. Like there's so much going on, and we're partnering with Neighbors Skate Shop. There's going to be a half pipe there, and students can skateboard. We're also giving away like special JRF and Neighbors Skate Shop boards. There's going to be free fruit, screen printing, Radical Library collaboration, CDs, face painting, so much. It's on our Instagram. And the lineup will be revealed this week. Now I want to go back to this weekend. We had like 3 events back to back. Friday was our last DCT trip of the year to Little Tokyo. That was the highest attendance we had all year. We had all you can eat sushi, so that was like amazing. They let us take it to go, which is such a like a great thing. Then Saturday, HHC, in collaboration with Hip Hop Heads, had the Assembly, which is like a student rap showcase. We were the first student organization to host a concert at Boondocks. Always remember that CAC is the blueprint for these things. And then upcoming this week, tomorrow is our final word on Wednesday, Vogue and Tell, featuring Byron Keaton from House of Juicy Couture. In collaboration with House of Bruins. And then this Thursday is our final opening night for our art gallery AAPI in Swana and Kirkhoff Art Gallery, 6 to 8 p.m. Hope to see you all at JRF on Monday.
Sorry. Joy?
BOS held their study night yesterday in Haynes A28, I think, and it was a success. We are also having a walk audit of Westwood Village next Thursday to survey the sidewalk conditions and any, unsafe, inaccessible conditions. And also next Thursday, we are hosting a town hall of the LSDCC in the LSDCC to gather any feedback that we can implement for next year. And to evaluate the space overall. The rest is written.
Thank you. Nico?
Hello, everyone. My officer report will be written. Thank you.
Hannah?
Just a couple of things. This week, our search committee and our internship team will be presenting their research. Additionally, our CPR committee is hosting Super CPR, which is free certifications for anyone on the Hill this Saturday. This Saturday, we also have our Active Minds Mental Health Conference for Mental Health Awareness Month. Following that theme, we have Town Hall for SWC, our last one of the year, on mental health. It's a collaboration with RISE next Tuesday, 5/26, I think is the date. And then lastly, our fuel for finals will be in the PSL Monday of week 10. And I heard there might be Wingstop.
All right, so we have a yoga event tomorrow with my Transfer Wellness Committee. We also have a David Geffen School of Medicine tour in collaboration with Transfer Med. Shout out Ashley, she actually planned it for my office, yay, our office. And we finished our USAC 101 presentations this week to incoming transfer students, and our grad photo sessions are going along swimmingly, yay. And our commuter survival guide is out, so spread far and wide, reposts on your social media, and Transfer Bruin Day was a smashing success. So thank you for all of you that showed up.
We had our last Teaching Kitchen event, and that was with the Turkish Student Union. And then we also had our last Global Bites event, which was with the Palestinian Student Union. We had International Student Prom, which was a huge success. And we had a photo booth. We had a DJ. We had a lot of food, Henna with the Heart. We had a Salsa Society. And we had a much larger number of people than last year, so it was a huge success. And then we had our final directors meeting, and we have new ISR merch this year. And with that, we have ended our term.
Thank you. Orlando?
Hello, everyone. I guess I'll hold off on my goodbyes and congratulations later. Just one big update I advise as you all transition out to don't forget to update your signatories, to update the new leaders so they can start beginning to do all signatory stuff and they can start getting all the wonderful soul messages that we send out to everyone. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Lorelai?
Hi, everyone. Reminder to turn in your purchase cards to receive your cords, and also fill out that survey. That feedback will be going to the store. So if there's anything you really disliked or really loved about the program, we need to know so we can communicate that to them so that way they continue the program. So please fill that out by next week. In addition to that, rec clinics will be happening on week 10 on that Tuesday and Thursday. That's going to be the 1st and 4th. All recs are going to be due on the 5th. And so I would recommend coming by the office if you need any help, like as soon as possible. But otherwise, that's it.
My only update is this is the first year I've sat on council and don't have any past due invoices from USAC. So thank you.
Jonathan?
Hey, hi, hello, all. A couple things from me. You have heard these dates multiple times now, but I'm going to say them one more time. So for your transitions, as of this Friday, social media accounts must be transferred over to the newly elected person. You may, with their permission, continue to access it, but they must have access by that date. The 26th is your last day to do any programming, and the 25th is your last day of Kirchhoff office access. And then those P cards need to be turned in, and your official email accounts need to be turned over to the new person by the 30th of May. A reminder also to use your employee discount. I don't know if employee appreciation is still happening. I put a flyer in the Slack, but your employee discount expires at the end of this month. I know, I know, I know, I know. I think employee appreciation is still going on, is it? Regardless, actually, let's see here. Yes, employee appreciation ends tomorrow. So if you want to use your discount goes up to 33%. That'll be the last time this happens for the school year. So if you want to use your discount, tomorrow is a great day to do so. And then your final paycheck, your final payday is June the 17th. If you are not going to physically be in Los Angeles or Westwood to come and pick up your check, which if you are, I highly encourage you to come and pick up your check. It's going to be by far the fastest and easiest way for you to get your money. If you are not, please reach out to us and we'll help coordinate mailing those out to you with a correct concurrent address. Yes, Kay.
What if I'm in a different country?
We'll connect offline and we'll talk about that one. Yeah. Let's see here. ASUCLA, so you all have your cords from us, your USAC cords. If you once you turn in your P card, you can come by the office and grab it. You also likely got an email about the ASUCLA senior send off. I'll drop the info in the Slack right now, but that's going to be on the 21st from 4 to 6 p.m. in the Bruin reception room. And there's also an option through that to get a cord or a couple other pieces of memorabilia that you can choose from. If you're not able to make it to that event itself, starting on the 22nd while supplies last, you can stop by the Student Union info window to grab your cord or piece of memorabilia that you choose. As you all are preparing your offices for transition, again, please help make those spaces ready for your new people. But also I want to highlight what Bethany mentioned earlier in this meeting is that capital contingency is going to be open. So for those that are going out, this will be a great time to identify throughout the year what are the things that you needed in your office. For those that don't know, capital contingency is for office items, right? So if you need a new computer, you need a couch, you need a desk chair, whatever that may be, now would be a great time to identify that and either let your successor know that they need to apply for that ASAP or do that application on their behalf. Let's see here. And then, like Lorelai said, recs are due on the 5th for regular recs. And then if you have any commencement related recs, those are due on the 12th. Please, 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 please submit your recs. Please don't hesitate to stop by if you need assistance. Pay your event bills. Any outstanding bills that you leave become the duty of your successor. So successors encourage your predecessors to submit their bills so they do not become your problem. And then for the new folks that are here, I'm not going to do the whole spiel and everything because I don't know if everyone is here actually, and we'll do that next week. But since I have you here, I might as well give you a couple of reminders. So for the new folks, your appointment information form and the Leadership Academy information form are both due tomorrow. If you have not submitted those, please do so by tomorrow. We will be sending out your transition packet that includes transition docs and officer reports from the last couple of years throughout this week. You'll get that shared to you to your personal email. If you have not yet signed your onboarding agreement, those are due on Friday. And a reminder that no one should be posting any staff selection at this point at all. No one has received any approval from Human Resources. If you have anything up, you need to take it down. We need that approval from human resources from a legal standpoint. So please, if you have engaged in that, please remove that now and go through the processes that are in your modules and in our policy doc to get your applications and materials approved. Module set 1, which includes the volunteer selection and onboarding module, those are due on Monday, by the end of the day Monday. You don't need to submit anything to us from the Genially modules. The system tells us if you've completed it, if you completed all the steps, all that kind of jazz. And then headshots will be from 5:30 to 7 in Kirchhoff 220 next Tuesday before your first meeting. They're from the waist up, so you don't need to wear fancy pants if you don't want to. But these will be used for the displays in the union and the website, and then you'll get copies for your own use as well. And then lastly, office access for the new folks. We'll start that same day of your new council meeting, and we'll provide specific instructions during that council meeting. So you can hold off till then for that. Otherwise, don't hesitate to reach out if we can be of any assistance in the next couple days.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. We will now move on to a letter we have with Jaya.
Thank you. So I'm just gonna read this out loud. I worked on this with our MSA community. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but this was one of the most prominent student orgs I worked with this year. Because of the severity of this and speaking with them, I decided instead of just doing a brief blurb about it, that I want to read it out loud because I want everyone in this room, especially since we lack this year representation of SWANA Muslim students on council. I want to read it out loud so everyone can understand the weight of what this means and how this is impacting several of our Brune students here on campus. So I'm just gonna start. Yesterday, a horrifying tragedy occurred at Islamic Center of San Diego, one of San Diego's largest mosques, which also holds a connected accredited elementary high school, Bright Horizon. School was also in session during its time, where teachers were holding classes for children. By 11:43 a.m., 3 Muslim individuals were murdered, and children, families, and the broader Muslim community were left traumatized yet again by another attack rooted in Islamophobia. Investigators found anti-Islamic writings and other hate material located in the suspect's vehicles, leading to high suspicion that this shooting was driven by Islamophobic hatred. This shooting has led to school and security concerns not just in San Diego, but abroad, including for other faiths of worship as well. USAC calls to remember the names of Ami Abdullah, Nadir Awad, and Mansour Kazia, a security guard, community member, and staff member whose sacrifices for the worshipers and children led to saving the lives of many in the Muslim community. We remember not only commitments to their communities in their last minutes of life, but we also honor their capacities as fathers, friends, community members, and so much more. USAC is fully aware of Islamophobia. It is not a new issue. After the attacks of September 11, 2001, there was a fueling increase of Islamophobia nationwide. Even now in 2026, these sentiments continue to increase. Islamophobic messages and hate speech towards Muslim communities have been propagated and promoted by countless political leaders, including US Congress members, senators, the federal administration, and even the San Diego Mayor, Todd Gloria. While this is a solidarity statement, USAC would also like to take a moment to emphasize UCLA administration to release their own statement marking their solidarity and support for the broader Muslim community at UCLA. Additionally, we call on administration to reaffirm their commitment to addressing Islamophobia on UCLA's campus, a campus deemed by the Council of American Islamic Relations CARE as one of the most hostile campuses for Muslim students. This includes additional support and protection for prayer spaces, prioritizing all forms of hate speech on campus equally, and culturally sensitive trainings for the UCLA Police Department. USAC firmly stands in solidarity with the Muslim community in San Diego, UCLA, Southern California, and abroad against Islamophobia, and will use our efforts to maintain our resolution condemning the campus-wide and global rise of anti-Palestinian, anti-Arab, and anti-Muslim racism. We will channel our advocacy efforts to not only address Islamophobia, but to also recognize it when we see it and call it out as well. USAC reminds our student body that to create change, we must look inward, which also means looking at UCLA and thinking critically of improvements UCLA can be undertaking to better support our Muslim peers and calling this form of hatred out anytime we see it. Most importantly, USAC encourages the student body to stand up to Islamophobia and hatred whenever and wherever it happens. We fully acknowledge that the shooting was driven by hatred and cruelty, and with this in mind, we must make it a priority to spread kindness, love, humanity with one another in a world where power and greed fuel hatred and violence. We must celebrate cultures other than our own, share and be open to learning about different faiths and ethnicities, and most importantly, call it hatred wherever we see it. Every student, regardless of religion, ethnicity, or creed, belongs at this university and is in the state of California. And it is time we stand up for each other. In solidarity, USAC of the University of California, Los Angeles. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, Jaya, for your impactful letter. Any questions or comments? But if not, we can get a motion. Can we please get a motion to approve this letter for tonight?
Motion to approve a letter of solidarity with Islamic Center at San Diego and the Muslim community abroad.
Second.
Here are motions. Brett seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 13-0, this letter in solidarity with the Islamic Center at San Diego and Muslim community abroad is approved. We will now move on to a letter calling for UCLA in regards to the Latinx Success Center. I think Tommy's not present, but I will delegate it to the incoming IVP, who is not a voting member. Yeah. You can start, Gabby.
Thank you so much. Yes, I will be filling in. Pause momentarily.
First, move on to the resolution introduced by Tommy. I don't know who's going to read that one, or who's going to. Okay. Yep. So which one? The federal research grant. If you would like, if you'd like to propose a presentation. Yeah, it's linked. We don't have to. You don't have to. But I mean, is she speaking on it? Okay. Yeah, you can give any comments or to the council about it.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Thank you so much. Okay, hi everyone. First off, congrats to my fellow graduates and congrats on the new council coming in. Today I'm going to be presenting on just basically calling for the preservation of federal scientific research grants that can bolster scientific innovation at UCLA and the broader UC system. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so just an overview. I'm just going to quickly introduce myself, do a quick overview, just basically outline the resolution as my 3 federal agencies, which is the National Institutes of Health, National Science Foundation, and Department of Energy, and quickly explain the significance of scientific research to UCLA, UC, and California, and what we can do about it, which leads on to the resolution. Okay, hi everyone. So
You might have seen me here before. My name is Tracy Lay. I'm a senior and I'm majoring in political science and public affairs. I recently participated in UCDC in winter of 2026, which was where the bulk of my research took place. I'm currently kind of an IVP, but the last time I was here, I was the assistant chief of the academic senate and a former academic senator. Okay, so just a quick overview. First off, I want to also recognize that this week is Undergraduate Research Week. And I also want to recognize that last year, the UC had five Nobel laureates, which is the most in a single university system in the world. It's a record-breaking moment. And I wanted to quickly highlight that one of the five here is actually a UCLA alumni. His name is Dr. Fred Ramsdell. His research focused on the activation of T cells and how it relates to the immune system of our bodies. And just to quickly outline the other projects, Dr. Omar Yagi is actually a former UCLA professor here. He's now at UC Berkeley, and he researched on metal organic frameworks, basically trying to see in like desert hot air how we can extract water droplets from there. And in terms of the three physicists at the top, they researched on macroscopic quantum mechanical fueling in electrical circuits. Now, what is significant about all these five different researchers is that they have either used NIH, NSF, or Department of Energy as their source of research funding. Particularly for the three physicists, they use NSF and DOE funding. For Dr. Fred Ramsdell, he was actually an NIH fellow who used NIH funding for his Nobel Prize research. And for Dr. Yagi, he used DOE and NSF as well. Please. Okay, so my resolution ask is for the increase in USAC engagement on preserving federal research funding, specifically targeted to those three federal agencies. And I also wanted to emphasize that it's also related to increased community engagement as well, in addition to broader UCLA student outreach. Okay, so the first agency I wanted to present was the National Institutes of Health, just so we can kind of see what the impact is. The UC's recent appropriation requests for both years are $51.303 billion, and last year the president's budget request was around $29 billion, which is actually a 38% decrease from what was enacted in the previous fiscal year before that. And this year in particular, there was a decrease of 12.3% in the president's budget in comparison to the amount enacted last year. And in fiscal year 2024, UCLA was the 16th, was ranked as the 16th most received NIH funding nationally. And in 2026 for the fiscal year, they moved up to 14th. Okay, next slide. Okay, so for the National Science Foundation, again, the UC requested in both years $9.9 billion. And the president's budget request shows that there was a 55% decrease from the enacted amount in fiscal year 2025 to 2026. And then also a 13% decrease from the amount enacted in 2026 to this year's appropriations 2027. And also in both of the fiscal years, UCLA received more than $70 million. But the drastic difference is there is a negative $15 million that was received for UCLA. Next slide, please. Okay, so for the Department of Energy, kind of same case, we requested $9.5 billion, and the president's budget request in particular was a 13% decrease around for both years based on the amount enacted from the previous year. And there was a $5 million decrease in comparison to the two fiscal years. mentioned. Okay, so the significance of scientific research, I'm just going to broadly outline it. It's primarily scientific research is incredibly important to UCLA, UC, and California as a whole because these funding that are being funded into scientific research projects allow students to not only gain hands-on experience, but also allows for more innovations to be made. And that actually also can lead on to more clinical trials and more public health benefits. And particularly, I also wanted to recognize the the difficulty for non-traditional students like myself, transfer students into finding opportunities like this, and our scientific research has actually helped generate more than $1 billion to the California. Actually, no, it's like $13 billion, I'm sorry, to economic activity here in the state, as well as over 1 million jobs as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so what can we do? Which also leads into the resolution. The best way that we can ensure the preservation of research funding is not only spreading the awareness of this issue to the UCLA, UC, and California community, but also to the broader community within the Los Angeles areas, as well as other cities in California as well. And and another way as well is to open and expand support channels for new students who want to be involved in research, as well as different pipelines to streamline the process of assisting students whose research got federally impacted by the cuts. So yeah, with that being said, I really hope that this resolution passes. By passing this resolution, you can ensure that students here at UCLA have an opportunity to gain hands-on experience with research, but also ensuring that that they can also contribute to what is already a great university system institution that truly values research. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? If not, thank you so much. We can now, if we can please get a motion for this resolution.
I motion to approve a resolution calling on the preservation of federal scientific research grants and innovation at UCLA and the UC system.
Second.
Brett motions, Hiram seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 14 to 0, this resolution is approved. We will now move on. Do you want to move on to the elections code?
We can do elections code or letters, your pick.
Let's do the letter first.
All right. We'll do a letter calling for the restoration of meal swipe exchange hours at ASUCLA operated dining locations and for the reinstatement of meal swipe exchange at non-ASUCLA operated sites by fall 2026. Pretty self-explanatory. It's in the title. But yeah, it's addressed to UCLA Dining since they're the ones that have made this decision. And yeah, does anyone have any questions or concerns? All right. I motion to approve a letter calling for the restoration and expansion of meal swipe exchange hours at ASUCLA operated dining locations and for the reinstatement of meal swipe exchange at non-ASUCLA operated sites by fall 2026.
Second. Tommy motions, Brett second. Seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 14 to 0, that letter is approved. Next, we have another letter.
I'll do election code changes first, just because I would like that letter to be my last thing I introduce on this council. All right, so the elections code changes. There are two. One of them is to clarify what we spent a lot of time at our last meeting talking about, which is the social media guidelines. So it is elections code 8.2.2 subsection D.V.3. So the elections board shall have 48 hours to review campaign materials and notify candidates if they are approved, adding this following sentence: the 48-hour review period shall not be interpreted as limited to business hours. So just so it's very clear for future cycles. And then we deleted the during 0 week to the 10th week, the elections board may take up to 72 hours to approve campaign literature, since that's basically the whole election cycle. So I don't even know why that's there. So yeah, does anyone have any questions? Yes, Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel.
Um, I'm just a little worried about the last part of the
Agree.
changes, the last paragraph. Um, Mostly, I just don't really. I'm a little concerned about how the practicality of that. Like we all know that election season already moves
I will
really,
say, like,
really fast.
based off like previous cycles, like in the emails that have been sent, like it's been operated as 48 hours. Like Sujana's was 48. So
No, I mean the
The last clause, number 6.
last.
oh
Yeah, the last paragraph.
oh,
I don't think you presented it.
I haven't presented it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll bring it up at the end.
Oh, sorry. I was like, thought you meant like the second part of the first thing. I meant, does anyone have any questions about the first one I just read?
Orlando.
Yeah, hey, Tommy, just want to point out, just to clarify, just because I did review the e-board code, and 48 hours is listed 8 different times in there. So, but this change.
Specific to this like campaign graphics. I recognize the differentiations at the different ones, but obviously I don't think I had enough time to review the whole code, so this was just one of the ones we decided to look at.
Yeah, no, that there's literally 8 different ones
Yeah.
out there. So just it would cause
There's a lot of
big
changes.
consistency within the old e-board code. So
Yeah.
just want to point that out.
100%. I definitely do think, based off JBoard's analysis, there's way more changes that need to be made, but just in terms of what we could have done this week, this is one. All right. The last one is, this year we saw a record number of disqualifications and permanent suspensions of campaigning at an unprecedented level compared to other election cycles that we've seen at UCLA. So just to ensure that there's a level of transparency with us regarding those extreme decisions, just maybe adding just a check so that way they're accountable to the student body as well as USAC on the logic behind taking that extreme of a step. Just to come in and give a brief little presentation or explanation for that for the student body as well. That way everyone has access to that information. Because oftentimes we just see the report on Daily Bruin or on something of just like in bold, like so-and-so was disqualified with like not the full story. So does anyone have any questions? Daniel.
Daniel.
Hey, wait. I think I might have misunderstood it. So, is it basically like they can still like disqualify or
Yeah,
suspend
so
whatever? They just have to like come and
they
explain.
disqualify someone, then they
Okay.
come in and say, we disqualified XYZ because XYZ.
Okay, perfect.
I'm just a little bit worried because it doesn't clarify like the specifics of them coming. It's more so like they can come and share, but what if there are multiple instances where council is going back and forth? I don't know if we could be doing that as a Q&A and a questioning body. We're not. I mean, also the sanctions are listed publicly on the website.
It's just a presentation, and it could also be in the form of a public comment. However they choose to give that presentation, it doesn't specify. And as you read for public comment, it's not a back and forth. So,
Nico?
Hey everyone. I also have the same concern as Orlando. As someone who has read all the pages of the election code, 48 hours is specified like many times. And if we're going to do a change to the election code, I think we should do a change to every part of the election code to make sure there is no room, like ambiguity, since I think the ambiguity of the election code this year was an issue. So if we're going to do an election code change, I am of the favor of changing all instances of 48 hours to this. Otherwise, I think it's just going to open doors for misinterpretation again.
It's okay, and then Jayo.
I agree with that, and I also the same thing with the presentations. I don't think we can like just be like, oh, it can be public comment or this or that. I think if we're gonna make a change, it should be like we need to write it down. Like this is how it needs to be. Like this is how you need to come and present.
Joe? Brett? Chris?
Certainly agree with the first clause. Tommy, is it possible to add like a piece, like a subset there where changes should be made to anywhere where this piece is germane or something like that? Because if it appears, what, 8 times, Orlando, I think you mentioned, then I think that could be
Yeah, I don't know if we can put that in the code itself, but I'll be working with Gabby and Jaya. We actually have the entire code outlined with all those changes, but
lovely. And then my second point.
Yeah. Jaya?
Yeah, so we were working on this probably last night. I will just say to ease current council members' concern, this is not the end. I have a whole document outline of all the changes we will be making these upcoming weeks. So please ease your mind, administrative reps, ease your mind that this is not the end of the edits we will be making. We were reviewing code. Your incoming president is committed to making further edits to make sure it is uniform. This is just what we can do feasibly in the last USAC meeting we have.
Brett?
Madam President, my question for you is, shouldn't we just do it all next week then, or shouldn't you guys just do it next week and just have it all together, make it easier? That way you could just vote in block, be like, these are all the changes we want to make. Because it's like I'm not against the changes. I just think it makes more sense to do like that.
we can totally do either.
I mean,
Your call.
table.
Your call. Save us time.
We will table for you.
I motion to table the elections code changes for this meeting.
I second.
Brett motions, Daniel seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote 14-0-0, this agenda item will be tabled for next week's meeting. We will now move on to the letter we skipped.
Yes, so this is the letter calling for the University of California, Los Angeles to provide institutionalized funding for the Latinx Success Center. It is currently does not receive institutional funding from UCLA as it was founded off of a gift or a philanthropic gift. So I'll just kind of read the end of it. At the present, 24.7% of UCLA undergraduate students identify as Hispanic or Latina, while 34% of undergraduate students are eligible for Pell Grants. Federal HSI designation requires that at least 25% of undergrad students identify as Hispanic. Additionally, research from Excelencia in Education demonstrates that Latina students are disproportionately first-gen, making access to culturally responsive systems even more essential. As 77% of LAUSD students are Latino identifying, UCLA must recognize that the future of California's public education pipeline is overwhelmingly shaped by Latina communities and invest accordingly in the support systems necessary for those students to succeed once they arrive on campus. This is precisely why institutionalized retention efforts matter. UCLA's responsibility does not end when students are admitted. The university must ensure that Latina students are able not only to enter UCLA, but thrive here with the support, resources, and sense of belonging they deserve. Since its grand opening in April 2025, the Latinx Success Center has proven itself to be far more than a remediation space. It is a center dedicated to student success, empowerment, excellence, and community care. The LSC has already become a vital resource hub for students navigating the unique academic, financial, and social pressures they face throughout their collegiate careers. The center currently provides holistic academic and career support, essential networking and professional development, vital community-centered resources, and evidence-based retention and student success practices. These resources are not optional luxuries. They are critical investments in student retention, well-being, and success. Students have already demonstrated their commitment to this work through the Student Success Referendum. Students did their part by organizing, advocating, and fighting to secure funding for student support services because we understand how necessary these spaces are for our communities. This urgency is heightened by the reality that students are currently the reality students are currently facing. Latinx and immigrant communities across the country continue to experience fear and instability due to the escalating anti-immigration rhetoric, ICE enforcement, racist violence, and attacks on free speech. At the same time, cuts to university funding and student resources threaten access to higher education, research opportunities, and long-term student success. At this moment, UCLA must reaffirm its commitments through action, not rhetoric. Funding the Latinx Success Center is not simply about preserving a space, it is about affirming that Latinx students belong at UCLA and that their success matters, and that future generations of students deserve the opportunity to thrive here. And yeah, we call on UCLA administration to commit to permanent institutionalized funding for the Latinx Success Center.
Thank you, Tommy. Are there any questions or comments? Not. Can we please get a motion for this letter?
Approve a letter calling for the University of California at Los Angeles to provide institutionalized funding for the Latinx Success Center.
I second.
I said that.
Tommy motions, Brett seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 14-0, this letter is approved. And I think that's everything on our exec. Yeah, we're okay. We will now move into executive session. So I will have to ask everyone who is not on council to please leave the room. That includes people who are shadowing too. You all will find out tomorrow. Yeah, you will come back and Lorelai will let you know that when we're done. Yeah, and then we'll vote soon.
Let's stay then. Just stay. Just stay. Oh, okay. Then let's take off. Okay.
Everyone will be done in less than 10 minutes.
Yes. Right now. Don't look at me. Don't crack the other way.
Thank you.
Alrighty. All right, we're gonna. Can everyone be in their seats, please? We want to get this done really quickly. We need a motion to enter. So.
I motion to enter.
Executive session.
I motion to enter executive session at 8:49 p.m.
I second.
Daniel motions, Tommy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining. With a vote of 13-0, we will now enter executive session. And Tommy, can you please turn off the live stream whenever you can?